What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and today we're running Toxicroak, Lapras, and Empoleon, a very strong team that you guys can utilize in the Ultra League Premier Cup Classic. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Toxicroak on the lead versus Shadow Charizard. So, a bad lead for us, we're going to go ahead and go into that Empoleon. Empoleon as a safe swap in this meta is very solid because it has access to Drill Peck, which does do super effective damage against a lot of common counters that we will see come in. In this case, it's going to be Venusaur, and we land it right there. Beautiful. Now, what's also great about Empoleon is its typing, Water Steel, which means we only take neutral damage from this Frenzy Plant. And because I have good PvP IVs, this Frenzy Plant, we're going to be able to survive and get to another Drill Peck here, now forcing ourselves shield advantage. What's also great about pairing Toxicroak with Empoleon here is Toxicroak, because there's a Venusaur on the field, is going to be resisting those charge moves, which is going to allow us to come in, fully farm down with counter, and hopefully be able to have a Sludge Bomb ready to go for that Charizard while also not worrying about our health. Yes, we're going to get chunked down pretty hard as Frenzy Plant still does a lot of damage, but we don't have to shield in order to survive, which is always very beneficial, and we're hoping for Lapras to sweep this game for us, seeing as a Water-type Pokemon came in and not a fighter. Now, we see them fast swap into Gallade, so I had to have reflexes of Steel. Not Steel, because Steel's not very fast, but you know what I mean. I had to recover very quickly, keeping my Toxicroak alive, which is going to be so key, because Surf right here is only going to do neutral damage to the Gallade. Gallade as well can get to Leaf Blade in 3 confusions. So this is going to be a very, very close endgame. Remember, we still have Venusaur to deal with, and we still have Charizard to deal with, and we have no shields left. Now, they decide to let that go through, which is going to allow me to fully farm down because the 3rd confusion will not get them the energy they need. Now, I need to be watching the top right just in case the Venusaur comes in, because we can Ice Shard it down. But let's see what decides to come in. Switch Clock as well as back up. It's going to be the Charizard. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Surf right here. Obviously getting the final shield now from Charizard. And hopefully we can throw the second one, but they decide to throw the Dragon Claw. Now, this is not going to KO us, and I'm anticipating them swapping into Venusaur, so I'm going to counter swap into Toxicroak, and sure enough, that's exactly what they did, which means I can get this Sludge Bomb off in time, and this is going to do a lot of neutral damage. And remember, Lapras still has the Surf ready to go, so we come back in after Toxicroak goes down and get the Surf off in order to win the battle. So, good game, very well played to my opponent right there. That was such a close one. I really liked their swap. Able to predict them, but able to predict that Venusaur. But the swap into Gallade was very clever, but thankfully I was quick to react. Alright, game 2. We got Crobat on the lead, again coming in with Empoleon. Now, notice what they're doing. They're not swapping out. So this tells me the backline is either weak to the water typing here from Empoleon or the steel typing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and shield. Now, granted that I don't think that was enough energy for Shadow Ball, so that was a misplay by me, but that's okay. We are going to see Wall Rain come in. So Drill Pecks here do some nice neutral damage. And because I am reading that they are weak, so maybe Empoleon core breaks this team, or they don't have a really good answer, their best answer is a charge move from Wall Rain, I'm actually going to double shield my Empoleon. I've already shielded once, but because Switch Clock is coming back up, I'm going to go ahead and shield again, hoping that this is the Earthquake. And it is. Reason being, I'm going to load back up to the next charge move and swap out into Lapras right now, because Lapras can tank the Earthquake very well, and if they are weak to the water typing in the back, so maybe there's a Charizard in the back, Lapras loading up on energy right here while taking Earthquakes that do no damage is going to be the biggest play of this game. Now remember, we still have Empoleon with a Hydro Cannon and Drill Peck ready to go, and we still have Toxicroak that has been hidden in the back for us. Now we're going to go ahead and commit to that full farm down. Had they built up to another Earthquake, I might have been tempted to throw a Surf, but all this energy right now, it's a Clefable. So the steel typing is what was doing very strong for us, because it's going to be resisting the Powder Snow and Icicle Spear from the Wall Rain, and the Charm here from Clefable. So it was the right call to double shield the Empoleon and keep it alive, because we are now getting shields with Surf, and remember, we still have Empoleon in the back. So what we're going to do here is, because I know the Crobat is out of energy, we're going to swap now to Empoleon to throw the final Hydro Cannon. If the Clefable wants to stay in, fine. I will farm down with Waterfall. But if not, and they swap out, we should win the race to the charge move because we are able to get there in time, and this is looking to be a good game. Very well played. So able to take this one even though we had a terrible lead, and that was due to reading what my opponent didn't do. Right? They didn't swap out of the Crobat, which made me think, you know what? I need to keep this Empoleon alive. All right, game 3, we got Charizard on the lead, so we're going to go ahead and swap out again. I'll win one of these leads. And in comes a Tangrowth. So similar situation like we saw with Venusaur. If you're safe swapping an Empoleon, you're going to see one of 3 things. You're going to see a grass Pokemon, a fighter, or you're going to see something like an electric like Ampharos, or maybe a Swampert come in. Some of those you could flip those around if you want to, but in this case, if a Venusaur with Frenzy Plant couldn't kill us with a 1 charge move, neither can a Tangrowth. And thankfully, they went for the shield bait there with Rock Slide, which is even better because now we can throw this Drill Peck to force that first shield from them, and now they have to throw the rest of their energy. Even though they loaded up a lot right here, their Power Whip now will basically take us out right there. And Toxicroak, again, we're resisting Power Whip, we're resisting Rock Slide, we can come in and farm down. Now, hopefully there isn't 2 Grass-type Pokemon in the back, but my Lapras does have Ice Beam. What I would suggest for you is if you already have a Lapras that doesn't have Ice Beam, maybe it's Ice Shard, Skull Bash, and Surf, use that. I just powered up a double Legacy, and I'm looking to power up 2. I want 2 Lapras for the Ultra League, one with Surf, or one with Ice Beam, and one with Skull Bash, but both with Ice Shard. Thankfully, there is a Snorlax in the back. So we did land that Sludge Bomb. Snorlax is now coming in. We're going to go ahead and let this first one go through. I don't think it's Superpower. It is just going to be Body Slam because throwing the Superpower that quick would, even though it would do a lot of super effective damage, our Surfs then would start really adding up and chunking down this Snorlax. So I guessed they weren't going to throw it on the first one, but I will shield the second one here. This is where a Snorlax starts throwing Superpowers, but it was just another Body Slam. Now, I want you guys to take note of my switch clock there in the bottom right. Toxicroak is coming back up, and I know this Snorlax wants to pull the trigger on Superpower, so I will swap out here to catch it. We're going to go ahead and load up some more, swap out, and we catch the charge move. If this is Superpower, this is a very, very big play for us. And it was. That's huge. That's going to be resisted. We do see the Charizard come back in, and it has to throw energy. The counter damage would have been too much. So this is now going to allow us to win because Lapras with Ice Shard and Double Surf is going to be able to take this one. I can easily shield right here. Snorlax is out of energy. Ice Shard does neutral damage. We stop the Blast Burn and fully farm down. And that's going to be a good game. Snorlax is going to come back in, but it is 1 Surf away, and we have 2. So the big play of that game was definitely catching the Superpower right there and calling the Body Slams early. Good battle. All right, moving to the next one. We got Toxicroak on the lead versus Swampert. Now, this is a tough one. We're going to swap out right away into Empoleon. Empoleon has a bit better matchup, especially if the Swampert has Sludge Wave, and it's looking to stay in. So I decided to throw the charge move, but they make a great swap into Walrein. All right, my opponent caught 1 charge move. I'll see if I can pay him back later on, but unfortunately, that damage didn't really do too much, right? Heavily resisted right there, but thankfully, we can just go for this Drill Peck. And this is a situation where I can't really give up both shields on Empoleon to take Switch like we did before, because the Swampert with energy right there is very, very dangerous for my team. So we're going to go ahead and let this go through. I'm going to have to come in with Toxicroak, and we're going to have to load up on energy. Boom! Down goes the Empoleon. Now, this Walrein has a lot of energy, which means it's going to be able to get off 1 more Earthquake. So we will have to shield our Toxicroak, but in order to counteract the energy gain from Swampert, we're going to try to catch that Hydro Cannon on our Lapras. So we do shield the Earthquake. We swap out right away, catching the charge move. I paid my opponent back. They caught my Hydro Cannon, and I caught theirs now. So that is a good swap of energy for us, and let's see what their final Pokemon is going to be. They're not swapping out. This tells me it must be something weak in the back to Lapras. I'm hoping it's a Dragonite, but it could be a Charizard. So we're going to go ahead and shield, and it was a Sludge Wave. So thankfully they didn't throw against Empoleon because I probably would have shielded it, but The Swampert has 2 shields, and they are staying in, so they're clearly weak in the back, and we got to try to see if we can force it out right here. Now, the Swampert does get to another Sludge Wave here, unfortunately, and this is probably going to do a lot of neutral damage to us. Yes, it does, and sure enough, it is a Charizard in the back. So, this is going to be a team effort to take down. This is a Charizard with 2 shields, and we have no shields. Do you think we can pull it off? It's going to be close. We do get to another Surf right here, again, forcing the final shield from our opponent. If they decide to let it go through, it might be a good game. Now we swap out into Toxicroak, getting to the Sludge Bomb in time. But is this gonna be enough damage? Now remember, Charizard gains energy very quickly with Wing Attack as well, and it barely doesn't take it out. But they do get the charge move off. This is gonna be the Blast Burn, and Toxicroak is gonna go down. Now Lapras, can you Ice Shard down right here? 2, 3, no. Wing Attack is so good this season, and Charizard gains energy so quickly that they do get to the Dragon Claw in time and take me out. But good game to my opponent right there. And that was the second to last battle. Here's the last battle. We got Toxicroak on the lead versus Walrein. I told you we were going to win a lead. This is a very positive one for us, and they swap out into Dragonite, so we're going to lock that down with Lapras, and this is beautiful. Even though Dragonite does have access to Superpower, we don't need to shield it. And this is, again, where I wish I had the Skull Bash, because situations where you can get the Skull Bash off, it's going to be the 8 Ice Shards here, is very beneficial, especially against a Walrein that's going to be coming back in. Now, unfortunately, I can only go for Surfs right here. I should have built up one more Ice Shard as well. If they were counting, they would have known I wouldn't have had a Skull Bash, which is likely why they didn't shield right there. So, in hindsight, build up to the Skull Bash that you have. But yeah, I wish Lapras had Skull Bash in this situation, but like I said earlier in the video, I'm building 2. This is just my first one that I had made a long time ago, and Ice Beam did a lot better back then because there was a lot of Giratina Altereds in the Open Ultra League. So, this is now an unfortunate situation, but actually it turned around. They decided to throw energy. Had they fully farmed down, we would have been in a very tough position. So now Toxicroak can come back in. They swap out into the Shadow Gyarados. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Sludge Bomb here. I know Empoleon can beat Shadow Gyarados if I have that shield advantage, and I'm hoping I get a shield there, which is perfect. So now, because I'm resisting the Dragon Breaths here, I should be able to just keep throwing Dropex. I don't even need to worry about them swapping out later on to catch the charge move, because Dropex is the one we are throwing against Gyarados and against Walrein, which really helps us out. I'm just going to throw it when I have it and just chunk this thing down. They decided to let it go, which is fine by me. We're going to let this Crunch go through because Toxicroak with counter and a shield should be able to close this game out for us. So, here comes the Walrein, and it's going to commit to the hard farm right here, which is definitely close, but no, it pulled the trigger at the last second. Granted, I think we would have gotten a Dropex off and swapped out anyways, which is exactly what we're getting right here. We're going to throw this Dropex. Switch Clock is back up. So this is looking to be a good game because I can just come in with Toxicroak and counter down. Good game to my opponent. I believe that was the final one right there. But this team was really solid and very fun and had a lot of good synergies. Like I said earlier in the video, Lapras with Skull Bash I think is better if you guys have it. I just don't want to TM away the double legacy, right? Ice Shard and Ice Beam, because it may prove better in the future at some point. I'm just going to build up another Lapras that has Ice Shard and then Skull Bash and Surf. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.